This week in the Fancy Stitch Combo series, I'm going to show you how to work the wishbone stitch. And I'm excited to show you this. This was a suggestion. This suggestion came from Brian from Australia. And it's a pretty simple lace stitch, but I really liked what he says that he does with it. He uses this stitch in place of plain stockinette on the instep of socks. And it takes it from a totally plain sock to a sock with a panel of lace in it, which I thought sounded really cool. And now that I've just done that on my hand, I understand that it would also make a nice panel in gloves or fingerless mittens or something like that too. Oh, the idea is you can put it in a lot of things. This is a multiple of 8 stitches. It's a 6-row repeat. It has a very distinctive front and back to the stitch. Let's go ahead and take a look. Here is this stitch in a very bulky sample. You'll see the wishbone shape, or I guess the wishbone shape is maybe more this way when you think about a wishbone, but this is the way that it knits up. This is the bind off row here. And this really prominent line that separates the panels is a double decrease. Something that's nice about this stitch is there's never a mystery if you're on track with your lace. This has like a built-in security system where you always know that you're on track. This line right here is your security system, so you know that you're on track. This is maybe not ideal for this stitch in that it's a bulky sample knit on bulky needles. I wanted to show you exactly what it looks like. This is maybe a more traditional example of how to use this stitch in lacier yarn. I did this on probably the same size needle as I did this one. I'll have to check my notes, but you can see you get a much, much lacier look with it. And the back looks like the back of the work. That's why I would not recommend this stitch for a scarf. Also the fact that it wants to curl at the edges makes it not ideal for a scarf. But the way that Brian uses it in socks is ideal. It fits right in with the work in the round. And in the video description below and on my website, I give you instructions for working this. Flat like this as well as in the round. But let's go ahead and take a look at how this goes together. This is a 6-row repeat, and the first row, really the only row I have to show you is the first row because the most complicated stitch appears in the first row. I'm going to cast on a multiple of 8 plus 1. Start with a knit 1 and then yarn over. And to do that, I'm just going to pull the yarn forward between the 2 needles and back over the right needle. And if you are a continental knitter, it really just means wrap the right needle, then go on to the next stitch. Like that. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 2. And this is the security system right here. The next stitch is called S2KP. S2KP. And every time you start an S2KP, you want to be 1 stitch before the column of knit stitches, the prominent column of knit stitches. That's how you know you're on track every time. To work this stitch, you want to slip 2 stitches together knitwise. To do that, you put your needle in as if to knit through 2 stitches and then just slip them from the left needle to the right without working them. I'll show you that again in a minute here. And then I'll knit 1. And the last part of this stitch is to pass those 2 slip stitches over the knit stitch you just worked. So it's like binding off, except for you're going to grab 2 stitches instead of 1. So you take the tip of your left needle, skip that first stitch, go into the front of the 2 stitches that you slipped, and pull it over the last knit stitch. And that just added to the double decrease of this column of stitches. Then to finish up the repeat, I'm going to knit 2, and yarn over. And then I go back to the beginning of the repeat, which is knit 1, yarn over, knit 2, and I'm going to work the S2KP stitch again. And I know I'm right on track because here's the column of stitches, 1 stitch over, I can start this. I'm going to slip 2 stitches knitwise, knit 1, and then pass those 2 stitches over. To finish the repeat, I'll knit 2 and yarn over, and then because it's the end of the row, I end with a knit 1. All wrong side rows in this stitch are purled, nothing fancy, and the right side rows are really just combinations of the same stitch that I showed you here. The most important part of this lace stitch is that column of knit stitches that keeps you on track to make sure that your lace pattern isn't getting wonky one way or the other. Good luck.